Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Jerick Show. A special warm welcome to our live viewers and a slightly lukewarm welcome to all those lazy people watching us on repeat. So this is a show that brings you the greatest and latest security news stories from the last seven to 10 days, depending on how lazy we've been, and presents them in a interesting manner.
Welcome to The Jerick Show, featuring your hosts Javad Malik and Eric Crone. Timely topics, poorly presented.
So yes, timely topics, poorly presented. And speaking of poorly presented, here is Eric Crone. How are you doing?
We didn't do this last week, and I missed this interaction. I really do.
Yes. What interaction were you having last week? Where exactly were you?
I was actually flying to Phoenix for a funeral.
Okay.
Way to bring it down, pal. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Then I ended up in Vegas for a couple of days for a conference.
Oh, in Vegas to wash away your sorrows?
Something like that.
It's quite a common thing. You go to a funeral, go to Vegas.
Well, Vegas is becoming my second home now. It's I don't mean it to be, but I'm ending up there like once a month right now on the regular. So
does that explain the doctor's visits?
No. Right. No, I really don't like Vegas. I just want to put that out there. And I know some people are like, you're so lucky you get to go to Vegas. And I hate Vegas. You've been to Vegas for Black Hat, right?
Yeah. My first trip to the US was Black Hat in Vegas. This was like years ago. And I remember going there and everyone's like, you do realize this is not representative of the USA. And like, this is completely an anomaly. And then, but having said that, nearly everywhere I go, it's like, this is not representative of the whole US of A. And then I realized there's nothing that truly represents the entirety of the US of A. It's just, it's not one country. It's like, three midgets standing on each other's shoulders wearing a trench coat, masquerading as one country.
They like to be called little people.
Yes. But I think that's what makes it great and endearing, that you can get something. And actually, I get it why so many Americans don't travel internationally, because you have so much within the country, so much diversity of weather, of terrain, of activities you can do, of cost of living, and you can do it without a passport and without changing languages. So it is kind of handy.
Well, I don't know. When you get in the South, some of that's a very different language down there, right? But you're right. And it's kind of funny when you came out to train
Yes.
for this role at KnowBe4, we went to Miami and Dallas. JJ, our other colleague, she came in from Australia. We went to New York City. She got to see like the sights from down there when I trained her. And then poor Yella comes in from the Netherlands, and I took him to Omaha, Nebraska. And I'm like, this is not representative of the whole U.S. It was just bad timing. That's where my next talk was going to be. But yeah, you're right. We have such a large country, and there's so many different feels within it. And the South is its own place. The Northeast is its own place. The North, it's a very different spread of people.
It is. And okay, enough of the geography and the cultural commentary.
Let's
move on to something we are
yeah.
mildly better at, allegedly, and that is security commentary. So this is actually a story I had in the notes from last week, and then you couldn't make it. But this is such a horribly designed website. So St. Andrews University had Dame Sally Mapstone, who was the principal. And she banned her fellow academics from starting emails with, "I hope this finds you well," or those kinds of phrases, because she just had a personal disdain for it. And what happened is, like, a few years later, a professor receives an email from a colleague of his, and it starts with, "I hope this finds you well." And that set off alarm bells in his head. And that's how they discovered it was a phishing email, and it allegedly tied to Russia. So little things like this, you could, it's so amazing. We put so much effort into either technical controls or teaching people about red flags. And one of the biggest indicators is usually like, what's the language like? How do they approach you? It's a bit like if I wake up one morning and I'm receiving a message from Eric and he's being very polite and nice to me, I can only assume either his phone's been hacked or he's been diagnosed with some life-limiting disease. So, I think it's a really good way to say that, people's gut instinct is often a really good measure, and seeing how people communicate is really interesting. So.
Well, I just read this, and if you scroll up just a little bit there, I think this is kind of funny. They got a phishing email, and they went to the cybersecurity experts down a little, and the National Cybersecurity Center. They're like, I got a phishing email. Alert the feds. It's kind of funny. Yes. I don't know that most people would go to that extreme. Like, I'm on the phone with the FBI in this year and CIA in this year. It feels kind of like, wow, okay.
It's like the original, the first Ghostbusters movie, when we're sitting around, then they finally get a call and she's like, it's the buzzer, we got one.
Yeah. No, this is certainly very interesting. And you're right about the words. So like over here in the US, if I see the word kindly in an email, I pretty much already know that is not one of ours. If it's from a US to US person, we just don't use that word in sentences. For some reason, scammers think we do, but that's a dead giveaway right there. We should put that like in our email filters. If it says kindly, it just dumps it.
Yeah. So you're gonna have like one really polite person there who's just like, my emails I never responded to. I'm so kind and like polite towards.
It is kind of funny, and I'm sure you see this more than many of us American type folks do, but there is a difference in how we write emails, even from the whole get-go. Like, I hope this finds you well. As Americans, we tend to be very straight to the point. We're like, where the hell is that report? Where in a lot of other countries, they start off by saying, I hope this finds you well. I hope your family is good. Where the hell is that report? Right? Like they tend to start off a little bit more personal, which we over here don't. And it's funny how those undertones can actually be something that can help you spot something being off.
Yes. It's I have to feel like it's a very British thing to be overly polite. It's almost like, what is it, the velvet glove or the saying of the, I'm mixing up my metaphors now. It doesn't matter, but they do a lot of pomp and everything. As a friend tells me often, he goes, the problem with the British accent is that you sound so condescending even when you're just saying something normal. And I'm like, well, I have no idea quite what you mean, but condescending means when you speak down to people.
Yeah, it's the only reason why when you insult me, it's even remotely funny.
Okay, NameCheap's email hack to send MetaMask and DHL phishing emails. So another case of we saw. We've seen organizations breach in the past, a bit like MameCheap, for example, when they're breached, and then you use their emails because it's whitelisted and whatever you get through. And this is like same sort of like MO being used here, where NameCheap's email hack to send all of these.
So this was a mass email service, or was this NameCheap itself?
No, it's NameCheap itself.
Okay.
And because they're whitelisted by many organizations because they're the domain registrars. Emails were you want to just increase the likelihood of your email reaching the inbox. And then you have that. I mean, the NameCheap CEO was trying to blame their email service provider. Email service provider was saying, no, you were using weak passwords or whatever.
What a shocker that would be.
Yeah. So it's all like with embedded links that take you to a phishing page or what have you. And it's interesting just because, again, this is such a low level attack when you think about it. When you think about sophisticated attacks, and this is what everyone will call it, it's just literally like oh, you reused a password, someone got in, and boom, that's it. You're popped. And it's funny. We were talking to our colleague Roger the other day, and he was talking about password hashing algorithms and the strengths of them. And he goes, yeah, I've yet to see any breach occur where someone says, oh, if only we had another cycle of hashing in there, that would have prevented the attack. Because it's not the weakness in the technology. Our technologies are pretty mature now. We have good processes in place for password hashing or encryption of sensitive data and all that other stuff. It's people giving up their stuff that makes it.
Yeah, far too often it's just tricking people in. Now I'm trying to check my MetaMask account right now to see, because my $20 worth of cryptocurrency I have here is up to $1.40. I wanted to make sure nobody had gotten a hold of that through this hack here right there.
That will.
Yeah, but
if it had gone, I don't know how you would have financially recovered from that.
I know. I would have had to make one of those the memes with the Tiger King guy. Yeah. No, this it just kind of goes to show you. I mean, we put a lot of effort into this, and if you've ever run email campaigns or anything like that and tried to keep them out of the filters, right? There's a lot of effort that goes behind that, and that's very valuable to attackers to be able to do that. Plus, it's going to come from a trusted source, which you probably already have some sort of a relationship with. So, it's not like it's just out of the blue. But yeah, that makes them a target like that, for sure.
It does, for sure. And we just need to move on. So GoDaddy, hackers stole source code, installed malware. And this is the kicker. It was a multi-year breach. This went on for like 2.5 years. And, it's just like, there was breaches disclosed in November 21, March 2020, 1.2 million managed password customers, 28,000 customers, October 2019, customers breached via SSH. But now GoDaddy is working with an external cybersecurity forensics expert and law enforcement agencies worldwide.
Wow, wow.
As part of an ongoing investigation into the root cause of the breach. GoDaddy, I can save you money right now. It's a compromised password. You probably weren't using MFA. You're reusing a password that had a weak password. It was social engineering. So someone clicked on a link, gave up their information or what have you, or you have some unpatched servers. Guarantee you, you're a Vegas man, Eric. I'll put money on this, that it's one of these three things that turn out to be
not a chance, man. Not a chance. And I mean, clearly, they're almost reaching the T-Mobile Hall of Fame level here with as many times as they've had breaches. I mean, I hate to say it, but ultimately, this has been going on over and over and over again. And so, if this was something that I just shake my head at some of this stuff. We tend to be nice people, Javad, you and I. When somebody gets breached, we tend to try to see the best of it. Like, oh, it could happen to anybody. But after the third or fourth time or so, it's really hard to even be kind anymore about this stuff.
It reaches level where you think this is preposterous. This is absolutely unacceptable. The number of times someone is, and this isn't a small mom and pop shop.
Yeah,
it's one of the largest, if not the largest, domain registrars out there. For them to have incident after incident, not really do a proper cleanup and what have you, it's a
sign of the security culture in the organization. It's the same thing I said about LastPass, right? Like, I'm not worried about passwords being breached from the LastPass breaches because they are encrypted and all that kind of good stuff, right? So they can steal them all day long. The fact that it's happened several times now tells me that there's something wrong with the organization's commitment to security in the first place.
That's right. It's just... Anyway, we are chewing through time. So let's make these last two quick and wrap it up before we lose even more, well, before we start seeing that drop. Because you get to this sort of like 15-minute mark, and all of a sudden you see, look at your stats and how many live viewers you have, and they start like slowly creeping out because I think people have meetings to go to, or they just get.
How does it creep down slowly from one, Javad?
Look, man, I'm trying to give the impression we have thousands of concurrent viewers at the same time.
In all fairness, we end up getting these comments, and we end up getting these comments, yet we show like one person on and we have 4 people commenting, which is kind of funny. And
Actually,
we see
speaking of
Eddie.
Cool. Eddie.
Yep.
So this is in relation to what we were saying at the beginning. So someone whose one job was to monitor the comments didn't monitor the comments, not saying any names, Eric Crone. But I'm in Dallas, Texas. A lot of us went into the military to see the world because of the history and culture.
Yeah, that was me. I joined the Navy and I wanted to go anywhere overseas and ended up getting stationed in Washington State, which I mean, I was like anywhere overseas. And then I did circles on the ship down in the Caribbean and came back to Norfolk, Virginia. It was pathetic.
Well, you are pathetic, but okay. Anyway, accidental WhatsApp takeovers. It's a thing. And this happens because people don't always port their number and then carriers recycle your number.
Yeah.
And then when someone signs up to WhatsApp on their new number, which is actually your old number, they get all of your old messages show up. So it's a thing. It happens. And I don't think this is a flaw necessarily with the system. It's just the flaw really here is when you use your phone number as a permanent sort of like identifier, or when you use it as a authenticator token or something like that, because this is not a permanent thing that is assigned to you.
No, that's true. But I mean, when you sign up for a lot of these things, they're going to ask you for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
They want to attach it to there, right? Like they want to connect it to your phone number. So of course people are going to go, yeah, okay. And then they move on and they change services and don't think about it. Now, I don't know about you, but WhatsApp is one of these things where people have conversations in WhatsApp because they think it's secure because it's end-to-end encrypted.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably a lot of things that people don't want to leak out of their WhatsApp. And so it could almost be a little bit dangerous for people in those cases. What do you think?
What do you think? I'm just asking the questions here, man. What do you think? I think you're right. I think there's a lot of misplaced trust in end-to-end encrypted. So I think there's a difference between end-to-end encryption and end-to-end privacy. There's a slight difference there. Okay. I don't think we have the time to delve into that, but we're seeing that a lot with Twitter. So in the past, people used Twitter DMs a lot as a form of like private communications. Yeah. I know a lot of journalists use. And now people are desperately trying to delete a lot of their stuff, and now they're having problems. There's bugs. There's all sorts of issues. I just saw today someone posted that a deleted DM from 2017 just suddenly reappeared in their DM history. So it's a weird thing. And
it's kind of scary, man, because I'm not the same person I was in 2017. I don't know about you.
No,
but sometimes we regret some of the things that we thought or said because we've learned since then, right? And with our current cancel culture, unfortunately,
I mean, once the court order came down, I was like, yeah, I'm changing my ways.
No, but it's kind of true. I mean, I think this is one of the advantages you and I had, I know, at our ages, of our childhood not being recorded and put on the internet, and therefore posterity for years and years, like today's kids are, a stupid mistake back in the day could cost you. Other options besides WhatsApp, I mean, there's Signal, there's some stuff like that, but
there's
again,
Signal,
I don't think this is a
Telegram,
WhatsApp
there's
issue.
Wire. I think with Telegram,
and hey John,
hey John, with Telegram, you don't need the person's phone number because you sign on with an ID and you give that ID to other people, and then they can contact you via that. So that's another way to go about it. So there are like plenty of end-to-end encrypted services out there.
Though, I mean, WhatsApp is a big one, and I don't know, when I fly here in the US, like on Southwest Airlines, when I connect to their free texting, it supports iMessage and WhatsApp, and that's it. So it's that familiar and well-known and usable, and we've communicated on it. We've done calls, it doesn't cost us anything overseas. It's damn convenient.
It is. And the usability factor, like you said, is just there, that everyone, you don't need to be particularly technically literate to install it and get it running and what have you. And that's the thing, convenience trumps security every single time.
Well, yeah. And now that, the privacy conglomerate, Facebook, owns it. Clearly we have nothing to worry about.
Yes. We have nothing to worry about. Speaking of privacy conglomerates, the European Commission has banned TikTok. It's banned it on all corporate-owned devices, and it's banned it on staff personal devices which have corporate apps on it, like, and I think they mentioned here it's like Skype for business, and I'm like, oh wow, they use Skype for business. That's all I need to know.
That?
But I'm with this statement. I can get behind this statement. TikTok insists it operates no differently from other social media. In asterisks, I think they just need to say, except the people who we share data with is different from who Zuckerberg or Twitter or whoever else shares their data with. Or
we just
Google
sell to someone else. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, I think it's more of a political play than an actual real concern over citizens' privacy and security.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't like the TikTok thing because it's been found to gather a lot of information that probably shouldn't. Now, that doesn't mean it's any different than Facebook or whatever, but it does reside in China, and the Chinese government has been known to do stuff. Yeah. Team communications, during disaster.
So hopefully this is about WhatsApp and not TikTok, because that would be really weird.
Can you imagine throwing down TikToks in a disaster recovery?
So here I am, the building's on fire, peace out.
Restore the server. Check everything running. Thanks, John. No, but I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the TikTok app because it does gather a lot of information. It's been found to be reaching out a little bit more. But to your point, it's really not much different than Facebook. I mean, Facebook, if you mention, hey, you know what, maybe a new car would be nice. For the next 6 weeks, you get car ads. I noticed on all of your ads that were on all of your stories, it had something to do with a camera or selfie stick or something like that. I don't want to know where you're going with that, but
no, I spent like, an hour before coming over just doing Google searches of like action cameras and stuff, just to erase all the previous histories that were coming up with more questionable ads. So,
there's some services that you can go to that it basically just randomly searches a whole bunch of crap to flood your
I know. I was looking at like hair restoration services in Turkey. Cheap.
Is that what it was? You're finally realizing. See, you have the event. I know mine is
I thought
here.
I'd
I can
get you
see
something for your birthday. That's the kind of friend I am.
Is it? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh. See, you're finally realizing though, it's getting a little drafty back here on you, huh?
It looks good at the camera.
That's all that matters. About the time I start seeing the big comb over across the back, we're gonna have to have that talk, Javon.
Oh man, I hate you so much. So on that cheery note, we are gonna go dark. So see you next week again, same bat channel, same bat time. Until